Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 2 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now, of course, we do have some news we want to share with you about a McDonald's fire that is happening in Jacksonville. We'll get to that coming up at the end of our segment, but first, we got to talk about this winter weather. I know a lot of people are wondering exactly what is going on. I feel like each and every weekend so far this month we have seen at least a hint of some wintry precipitation, and well, it looks like we've been saving the best for last if you are a snow lover. At least that's what model runs are suggesting. Things continue to trend towards snow this coming weekend, and we've got to start out by saying, okay, what are air temperatures looking like currently? Are we going to be staying cold for the rest of this week? Easy answer, straight out of the gate, yes. It is going to be staying cold. Right now, this is usually between 2, 3, and 4 p.m. This is usually our warmest time of the day. Right now, we've got 36 degrees in Greenville with a southwesterly wind that usually brings in a little bit more heat. That will help keep us away from the teens later on tonight, but it's still making it feel like 29 degrees outside. Now, your feels like temperature is just important to you. It does not matter to the atmosphere as a whole. Raindrop isn't going to say, well, it's 34 degrees, but it feels like 28 to humans, so I'm going to freeze. That's not the case. It's either frozen or it's not, and that is determined not by the winds, but by the air temperature itself. I do want to say hello to Shelba Moore along with Sharon Smith, and yay, let it snow. Right now, air temperatures again in the mid to upper 30s throughout most of eastern North Carolina. Along the coast, we've got the low 30s. That is even more impressive considering the fact that the sound in the oceans, or the sounds in the ocean tend to hang on to more heat than the land does. So right now, actually seeing colder air temperatures along the Outer Banks is a bit surprising. Now, Joshua Armstrong, so if the system hasn't developed yet, how can you predict that it will or will not snow? Joshua, fantastic question. What we do is we look at model guidance to project exactly where moisture and cold air are going to end up. We look at where jet streams are going to be, where high pressure systems in the upper levels of the atmosphere and low pressure systems are going to be that can help steer the jet stream, which will then help steer lower level systems. So while right now we can't exactly tell you how much it will snow, it is looking more and more likely through consistent weather modeling data that we are going to again be seeing some snowfall in eastern North Carolina this coming weekend. Now again, the range is still very wide. There is still that uncertainty, which again has a lot to do with the fact that the low pressure system has yet to develop. But just based on how everything is continued to trend from really this past weekend all the way to where we're at right now, the 12Z model run just coming in right as we speak. In fact, just took a look at some of that data before we came on. And again, showing a very consistent picture. The more consistency you have between model runs, the higher the confidence you have that those model runs are in fact the correct solution. There is still plenty of time for things to change. I do want to make that clear, but right now, again, the consistency we have seen is increasing our confidence in that snowfall forecast for this weekend. Joshua, that was a fantastic question. Glad you asked it. As far as winds, again, southwesterly, that'll help keep air temperatures a little bit warmer tonight than where we were last night, but again, we're still down way below freezing as we head towards midnight and then even beyond. Likely looking at the mid-20s coming up for tomorrow morning. Let's fast forward into, of course, tomorrow afternoon, upper 30s. Some areas may sneak into the low 40s, but the northwesterly wind is indicative of another cold front moving into eastern North Carolina. And that secondary cold front, that one that you're seeing there, that's only going to further reinforce the cold air over eastern North Carolina. So we are cold already. We've got another cold front that's going to be sweeping by eastern North Carolina. There you can see it rolling on in. Cold air will be filtering into the east overnight tonight into your Wednesday morning. You'll feel it more Wednesday afternoon than what you'll feel again through tomorrow morning. But that's a reinforcement of cold air on Wednesday. Let's fast forward this a little bit further. Get into Thursday. What do we have? Yet again, another cold front drifting its way down across eastern North Carolina, continuing to keep air temperatures cold. This is key. Last week we were chilly, but we did not stay in the mid-30s through the week. We did have air temperatures actually reach into the upper 50s, low 60s as we made our way. I think it was either Thursday or Friday of last week. So we did get warm last week. This week, not the case. Not the case. That cold air is looking like it is very much locked in for pretty much what we've got heading our direction. Now again, I do want to, of course, make sure I don't miss any questions here from Miss Wiggins. Where would the coastal low have to be in order to see an accumulation? Great question. Great question, Ms. Wiggins. Right now, I would say the perfect spot if you want the most snow across all of eastern North Carolina is about 25 to 30 miles off the coast. You don't want it hugging right up along the coast because those areas of low pressure, they bring in moisture, but they also bring in a little bit of heat as well. The center of those lows, they're surrounded by rain. It's only on the outside edges where you again see enough cold air move in to create some snowfall potential. So you do not want that low to move over you or to move north of you. Otherwise, you get more warm air and you essentially end up with what we saw last weekend, and that is a cold rain event. Air temperatures that are above 32 degrees, not going to support any snowfall, but again, will lead to obviously rain showers. So here's kind of a look at what we've got coming up. That magenta line you're seeing stretched across parts of Tennessee and the southern border of North Carolina and Georgia and then South Carolina, that is your freezing line. Areas on the north side of that line will have sub 32 degree temperatures. That's where we anticipate snowfall to start to stick. South of that line, we have everything coming down is either, well, most likely sleet, freezing rain, but most likely rain showers. And that line is going to, again, do some rising and falling. It is not going to, again, stay steady because the atmosphere is not steady. So there you see that low pressure system moving in. That freezing line, not a coincidence that it moved a little bit further northward as that low pressure system moves in, because that low is going to bring in a little bit of warmth. But remember, look at that low. It is rotating counterclockwise. So long as eastern North Carolina essentially stays off on the western side of that low, we will experience more of a northerly breeze. That brings in colder air and can reduce those air temperatures as that low tries to warm us up. So again, position of the low is going to be everything. And this is again a model run from the European system or European model. And you can see here that low off the coast, it's about maybe 50 miles or so. This is again a setup with that pink line kind of extending out. You can kind of see how it fades into that sleet, freezing rain mixture that we usually get. How that extends up kind of right along the coast of not just North Carolina, but even kind of South Carolina as well. This would increase the snowfall across all of eastern North Carolina if the low takes this position. If this happens, we will again see more widespread snow across the state than any other position, because if you want more snowfall, you got to keep that freezing line or that delineating line between snow and then sleet, freezing rain, and rain along the coast. If you can do that, you will increase snowfall totals throughout eastern North Carolina, not just in a couple pockets, but across the entire region. Even look back, like Charlotte out of this system is going to again potentially see some snowflakes coming down. And now as we head through your Saturday night into Sunday, note that low doesn't just take off into the Atlantic. It's going to be sticking around. And unfortunately, during this time period, it is also going to be strengthening. While that does mean we will see more moisture get flung over that cold air, and we could potentially see some higher snowfall totals because of the strengthening of that low, what we are also going to be seeing, you can kind of get the idea with the streamlines around that low, winds are going to be strong. We are looking at very strong winds across the Outer Banks and even for inland areas, so much so that normally with a snowfall system, power outages aren't a big concern, but with the strength of the winds out of this system, it does look like power outages, unfortunately, are going to be a possibility. Now, normally whenever we're talking about winter weather, specifically the opportunity to lose out on power, usually it comes because of freezing rain or ice accumulations on tree limbs that then break off because of the weight and then fall onto power lines. The winds, again, you won't need the ice in order to break those tree limbs. The winds can do it themselves, so that is a big concern that we do want to again share with you as we again head through the next few days and try to get ready for this upcoming weekend. Those of you along the Outer Banks, and I would say on the south side of the Albemarle Sound, I would certainly pay attention to the possibility of coastal flooding because of the strength and duration of the winds. Winds are likely going to be coming in out of the north, northeast from this system. Here you can actually see more of a north-northwesterly wind flow across eastern North Carolina, but it's going to bring in colder air, and it's going to do so at a very strong clip. Anticipating potential wind speeds 20 to 30 miles an hour sustained for inland areas. May see gusts upwards around potentially 40 miles an hour. We'll see stronger winds along the Outer Banks, so that is certainly a concern that we didn't really have last weekend. Winds weren't a big factor in your forecast this past Saturday and Sunday. This Saturday and Sunday, because of the strength of that low, we're singing a different tune. But again, this is what we've got Sunday morning, still looking at snowfall potentially coming down. Then we see that low work its way out of the east as we head towards, I'd say, around lunchtime on Sunday. This is going to mark the end of our snowfall potential. But what this doesn't show is that the cold air, well, I guess it kind of does that. And you can see that pink line stretching from, again, central South Carolina and all the way back kind of towards Charlotte. That freezing line stays down to our south. And if that's the case, we maintain freezing air temperatures. So anything that is stuck to the ground, I'm anticipating it will be snow, will be staying there. It will be staying there throughout your Sunday afternoon, throughout Sunday night, into Monday morning. Most likely through most of the day on Monday, as air temperatures, again, are likely going to be rising only into the mid-30s on Monday. Here's a look at your full 8-day forecast. And again, everything can change. There is still that potential. We could see an adjustment with the position of that low that could drastically impact our snowfall potential this coming weekend. But with the consistency that we have seen, it is again increasing our confidence in the fact that we are likely going to be seeing snowflakes coming up Saturday and Sunday, leaving by the time we reach Sunday afternoon. But of course, from there, things are going to be sticking around. Overnight lows, Sunday night, 15 degrees. That's what we'll wake up to on Monday, Groundhog Day. 34 degrees for your high on Monday. So very little melt will occur coming up on Monday. There will be some. Air temperatures above 32 degrees usually have an effect on ice. And the sunshine. The more sunshine we get, the better the odds are, again, of melting away a little bit of that snow. I don't think we're going to be melting away much, if any at all, coming up on Monday. I think if you're looking for snow removal on Monday, you're likely going to have to do it with a little elbow grease yourself or hope that the NCDOT crews come by and clear your roads. Otherwise, I am anticipating, again, roads will be rough coming up Monday morning. Now, yeah, Mark Wilson, blizzard conditions. That is certainly a possibility. We are looking at an opportunity specifically across Cape Hatteras, where you're going to end up being along the Outer Banks a little bit more exposed to the winds, just because, again, you've got kind of surrounded by water. That's where we could certainly see a blizzard warning pop up later on this weekend, particularly, I would say, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Again, blizzard conditions. That is a very, very rare warning. I know we, just in our societal nomenclature, we throw around the word blizzard like it's, oh yeah, it was a blizzard out there, but there is an actual, again, definition that has more to do with visibility than snowfall. And with that snow coming down and winds whipping around, it is really going to drop that visibility, and that again could lead to, of course, as Mark mentioned, blizzard conditions. Yeah, Diana Hines, believe it when I see it. You know what, Diana? I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all, especially over what we saw last weekend. It was really at this point last week where we again were increasing our confidence in the opportunity for snowfall this past weekend. We really started to deviate off of that course once we got to last Wednesday, and that's when models started projecting more of a too low system. That robbed us of the opportunity for snow as it introduced more warm air into eastern North Carolina and turned it into more of a cold rain event. We'll see again if those changes come about over the next 48 hours. By the time we get to Thursday evening, I think we'll have a very clear picture of what's going to happen over the weekend on both Saturday and Sunday with regards to snowfall totals, accumulations, and of course wind speeds as well, and potential again blizzard conditions. And I want to make sure I don't miss any questions. Gail Bunting, I want summer. My bad, Gail. My bad. It's coming. It's coming. If the patience, you will get it. Every day that passes, I said this in our past First Alert update, was each day that passes is one day closer to growing season. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Now, Brenda Coward said, is Washington, NC getting any snow? Brenda, right now, I would anticipate yes. Washington is going to again be getting snow. How much snow? Still has yet to be determined. All depends on the position of that low. Could be very little, could be quite a bit. Again, we won't have that clearer picture until we get, I would say, into Thursday evening to Friday morning. And again, I think, yeah, that looks like most of the questions here. Yeah, Joshua Moretti also say classic way in which eastern North Carolina gets snow. Exactly. And that's what's also increasing our confidence, is that with the last system last week, it wasn't a traditional snowfall setup. Usually we got to get cold air in place and then a low coming in that just stays off the coast enough to, again, avoid that warm air coming in, but close enough again to provide moisture. So that, of course, is a confidence booster, seeing again that this is following more of the traditional snowstorm in eastern North Carolina than what we had again last weekend. Will Wallace NC get snow? From Linda Dillon. Yes, I believe that Wallace will see some snow. The problem is that I do not know how much snow Wallace will see at this point. What are the chances of snow in Faison? Right now, I would say the chances of snow in Faison are most likely at around 70 to 80%. We'll go 70 just to play it safe, but I'm leaning 80. What about Jones County? Again, I think all counties in eastern North Carolina at this point have a chance of seeing snow. Now, currently, I'm not anticipating a whole lot of snow as you get further back towards I-95. Snowfall amounts can change very quickly just on a 10 to 15 mile adjustment in position of that low pressure system. So trying to determine how much snow or who's going to get the most is still, again, a fool's errand. I don't want to go on any fool's errands, but I do, again, want to give you guys the information that you guys are looking for. Jacksonville also, I think this is from Penny. I do think Jacksonville will be seeing some snow. Again, it's just how much is kind of the what everybody wants to know. I think everyone in eastern North Carolina has a pretty good chance of seeing snow out of this system. The areas I think that could have the best chance of avoiding snow out of this system, the Outer Banks. You get too close to that area of low pressure, too much warm air starts to introduce itself, and then again you can lose out on what could have been snow and lose it more to rain because of the proximity of that low. As if that low decides it wants to shift its way further westward, that zone of snow will get shifted westward as well. So we'll see more snow expected for, say, I-95 than, say, for those of you watching east of Highway 17. East of 17, if that low tracks westward, you guys are likely looking at potentially more rain mixing in initially and then possibly switching over to snow, which is going to really reduce your amount of snowfall accumulated. If we see it the flip side, that low decides it wants to shift a little bit further out into the Atlantic. That's going to open up more snowfall potential for our coastal communities, but it's going to rob more inland areas closer to I-95 of the moisture needed to accumulate more inches. Your moisture rate is going to be far lower the further out you go to the west, especially if that low decides it wants to shift eastward. So right now, that's kind of a breakdown of position, what each kind of shift would mean for our snowfall forecast. But right now, again, it's looking like it's going to at least affect everyone. It's going to impact certain spots more than others, but right now we do not have a clear picture on where those spots are. Now, east of 95, get enough for snow cream. Cynthia, yes, we likely will be seeing snow cream potential out of this system. And I am going to, again, look up. Here is a blizzard warning. We got this question. What is a blizzard condition for eastern NC? This question from Ray Powell. A blizzard, again, is when you see basically gusts up to about 35 miles an hour or higher, wind gusts, or even sustained winds of 35 miles or higher for a minimum of 3 hours, which with also the visibility cut down to a quarter of a mile, or about 400 meters. So it's a combination of snowfall rate. That's obviously going to be the thing that reduces your visibility, but then wind speeds as well. It's a combination of those two things that could potentially give us a blizzard warning. Now, I think, again, our opportunity of seeing a blizzard warning will be highest along the Outer Banks, because that's where normally we, again, see our strongest winds. There's less topographical features that will slow down winds along the Outer Banks. Also, you're closer to the center of that low. That's where those isobars get tighter and tighter, and the tighter the isobars are, the stronger the winds whip around that low pressure system. So that's essentially what we're looking at for blizzard conditions. I don't think we're going to have blizzard conditions throughout eastern North Carolina. In fact, I'm still going to be surprised if we in fact see a blizzard warning for the Outer Banks. But I do want people to know along the Outer Banks that is a possibility, and it is something that you should, obviously, if you're staying out on the Outer Banks, you should know about. We also want people to understand that those winds are going to be pushing around some water because they're going to be staying strong for an extended period of time. We could see some coastal flood warnings pop up as we head through this upcoming weekend, pretty much through the event. Now, last question we're going to take, Latillery Davis, is Washington going to be like it was last weekend? Oh, that's a good one. That's a nice little kind of, I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down there, Latillery. I think we're going to be seeing more snowfall than what we had last weekend. Again, determining exactly how much is still, anybody's guess. We still need to, again, get that low pressure system to, in fact, form before we can get a really clear picture of its position and forward movement speed. But I do think, again, everyone is likely going to at least be seeing some snow out of this system, Washington included. Well, again, also want to say thank you to everybody who, again, has been asking questions. I sincerely appreciate it. Hopefully, again, I answered your question for, we got another one from Ray Powell. What does the ratio at 10 to 1 y'all use mean? I've heard some can be up to 15 to 1. That is a ratio of moisture content in the atmosphere to kind of give you an idea of the changeover to snowfall rates. But again, right now, it's a little bit too deep in the weeds, and I've got to get ready for our upcoming ENC at 3. But Ray, great question. I will get back to you on that one again, because right now I don't have the time to really dive into all of it. But we'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. Russell James will be here to answer more of your forecast questions coming up at 3 o'clock.